I'm a software engineer with a full-time job and a side hustle of doing freelance coding work in my own time. I've always been the type to have a side hustle I put a lot of my free time into. I get really bored sitting idle. My freelance hourly rates are $60 an hour, and at my full-time job, my hourly pay works out to about $40 an hour. So that's how I value my time. Anyway, over Christmas vacation, I was staying at my parents' house. My cousin was also staying over with her 3 young kids from Christmas to New Year's. I'd been planning on doing some work on my freelance projects when I had free time, in the mornings when my family had no plans. I wasn't in any rush. I was already ahead of schedule on them all, but I didn't really have anything else to do. It was in a really rural area and it's like an hour drive to the nearest anything. Then my cousin and her husband asked if I could babysit all day for 3 days so they could visit some friends in the area and hang out with just adults. I said I had planned on doing freelance work at the library, and she offered to pay me to babysit. I said I could if they got close to my freelance rates. She wanted a number, and although my freelance rates are $60, I didn't feel like that was right. It was high. But I didn't want to go too low. Honestly, babysitting 3 kids would be harder for me than the routine coding work I had for my freelance project. I don't know a lot about kids and I've never babysat for long, and I had a feeling it would be stressful and difficult. So I said $35, which is below what I make hourly at work, and what is the bare minimum I'd value my time for, if that time is spent doing difficult work. And she went crazy at me, saying that's a ridiculous rate for babysitting, that I was entitled and being selfish, that I'm trying to take advantage of how she didn't have other options, etc. I said that's way below what I'd be making if I had the time to do my own work, and I'd be putting off my own work to babysit. Her husband then got mad at me, saying that I was a 24-year-old girl, that I'm damn near a child myself, that my time is not worth that much and it's childish to say that it was, and that I was a stupid girl for not knowing that babysitting costs like $15 an hour. When I grew up and have kids of my own, I will see how stupid I was being. I was kind of done with being called stupid, so I just told them I hope they could find someone else. My mom thinks that I asked for something offensive, and my cousin and her husband obviously did too. I am a 33 years old woman, the breadwinner of our household. I have multiple, highly specialized degrees for a niche industry. I make $200K plus, with potential to get in the $600 MS range. My company has not been hit that badly by COVID, so most of us have kept our jobs, but we're held to strict standards. My husband has a broad degree / work experience. He quit his job right before COVID hit, hoping for a better job in the meantime, and I was supportive. He spent a ton of time applying to various jobs, and finally landed an interview at Organization X. This is his dream job, in almost every imaginable way. I can't be detailed. However, it's paying about $65K a year, which would be fine, except this job directly puts my job stability at risk. My company and this org are adversarial, at best. My field is extremely secretive, and if clients discovered my spouse was working for a competitor, I would be permanently tainted. I wouldn't be able to get a job in the industry forever. I know this sounds like an exaggeration, but I promise you, it absolutely is not. It'd be like if I worked in protecting the privacy of celebrities, and he worked for TMZ. If he tapped my car, got into my work devices, he could use that to advance his career. And any trust one have in this field will be gone. Even if I trusted my husband not to do that, my clients and company don't. Worse, B//C my background is so specialized, this is the only field I can work in. I asked him to drop from consideration for this job, since if he got it, we'd lose my income. $65K a year cannot support us in this city. Plus, he does not have to work for this organization. Even if the job market is awful right now, his background gives him access to a wide range of jobs, but I only have this one niche field. He was extremely angry, and said I was selfish and only cared about money. I told him that if he wanted to go back to school for an advanced degree or just be unemployed for a while, I would support him. But taking this job isn't possible. He continued the process behind my back, and got the offer. He wants to accept it, B//C. He says his career needs to take priority and that I wasn't being a supportive wife. I feel so betrayed, and I've contacted all relevant higher-ups in my company to inform them. I notified them as soon as he got the interview. B//C it's better coming from my email than from a background check. I told him he could decline the offer, W// me watching him physically decline it. Or he could accept the offer and move out immediately. I would pay for him to stay 2 weeks at a hotel, and we would begin divorce proceedings. My company is willing to take care of all of my legal fees. I feel awful. I still love him. I moved decisively, B// this was the best way to cut my losses, but it still hurts. He called me heartless and cold. It's true that I was prioritizing my career over his, but it felt like the only option at the time. My family is Indian American, but I like to think I am pretty progressive. I have a son and a daughter. My daughter has started to become a tomboy over the last 2 years, despises feminine clothing and style. While it has definitely been an adjustment in my perception, I have always tried to be as supportive as possible, and have let her pick her own clothings, only eliminating anything that was graphic or inappropriate. However, my niece was getting married in a traditional, big Indian wedding. While generally all the girls would be wearing formal lehengas, Indian traditional dresses, I dropped it after asking my daughter if she wanted to wear that, and she said no. Only mentioned it once because she really looks up to my niece and I did not want her to feel left out. When I asked her what she wanted to wear, she said that should wear a t-shirt and slacks. But I insisted that she wear a formal clothing of her choice, whether it was a suit, a dress or traditional Indian clothing. This was black tie event. I was making my son wear a formal suit. Everyone was going to be dressed to the nines. I was going to get my son a new suit tailored for the event, and I insisted that she come with and pick a fabric and suit style as well. It could be to her desire, as long as it was appropriate. Like a very typical men's suit or feminine twist like what Zendaya wears. She got angry and said I was constricting her expression. I think she will have to wear formal clothing in other points in her life, whether for work or other formal events. She can express herself however she wants, but dressing appropriately for the occasion is a necessary skill. The wedding has been postponed for now, but I still want her to wear a formal outfit and she is still mad at me about this. But I want to stress that I don't think my daughter is really the asshole, but she is the sweetest little girl in the world. She is usually very respectful, gets excellent grades and works really hard. I am very proud of her. I do not think my daughter is trans, but I think I have made it clear that it's okay, if she or anyone else is. She also generally seems pretty happy with her body. She is actually really fashionable and doesn't really wear baggy clothing or anything, but is more into streetwear. She is the one who showed me who Zendaya is. I think she is at the stage in life where she knows everything, and I, her mom, knows nothing. She wants to rebel for something, but isn't really the type to rebel with something really bad, thank God. So she decided this is a justified area to rebel. She is also at home, and I haven't really allowed her to go out because of the current circumstances. So think she feels cooped up and now everything about me is annoying her. I have decided to take a hard stance on because my daughter really wants to go. She loves her cousin and my family, and she is a really social person who would love weddings. Telling her not to go would hurt her, I think, and would be counterproductive in the long term. This is the first wedding in our family and the first time my kids will see a traditional Indian wedding. They have never seen one before, so I think it's important that they learn and feel connected to our culture. If she decides not to go as an act of rebellion, I know my daughter, and I know she will feel really sad afterwards. Parenting is hard, and I was always a girly girl and so were all the people around me, so this uncharted territory for me. My girlfriend and I have been dating the past 5 years, since college. After graduation, we were semi-long distance, living close enough that we alternately visited almost every weekend. In 2018, and got a job in my city, and we found a place and moved in together. Now's a good time to mention the security cameras in our house. Break-ins are unfortunately common where we live. We thus got some motion-activated cameras, one of which has a view of our kitchen, to monitor the back door. The cameras only record when there's motion so they can retain footage for a very long time. And of course knows this. About a year ago, and started complaining I wasn't contributing equally to chores. I've been obsessive about chores my whole life. Growing up, not doing the dishes meant no video games for a week. When I lived with roommates, I was always the chore Nazi, making damn sure we all stuck to our chore wheel. And is just as fastidious about chores, so we just naturally alternated who did what. I'd just been brushing her remarks off, but over the last few months they've become much more aggressive. E.g. I was vacuuming and said, "Look at you finally cleaning up around here." I replied that we alternated vacuuming, to which she retorted, "No, you've vacuumed maybe twice since I moved in." Exchanges like this have been happening so frequently that I began to doubt my own recollection. Am I not as clean as I thought? Finally, she exploded at me last week. She said that having to stay home constantly over the past weeks exposed how little I do around the house, and that she didn't move in just to be my maid. Questioning my own sanity, I spent a few hours going through the entire 1.5-year archive of security camera footage, and tallied the exact number of times the kitchen cam caught each of us doing dishes. Our cleaning supplies, vacuum, mop, etc., are in the kitchen pantry, so I also tallied up how many times we grabbed cleaning stuff. To my vindication, the tally showed that we indeed split chores equally. She vacuumed / mopped 5 more times than I did. I did dishes 20 more times than she did. Given that we vacuum / mop at least once a week and do dishes at least every day, these are insignificant differences over the year and a half we've lived together. When I confronted Anne, she shrugged off her behavior as remembering things differently, but the real sin here was what I did, which she called an unforgivable violation of her privacy, akin to abusive stalking. She has broken up with me and is trying to move out, although obviously this is difficult due to current circumstances. I'm totally heartbroken, and was the love of my life, and I can't believe she destroyed our relationship like this. To make matters worse, she told many of our friends, who are mostly siding with her. They've been texting me that what I did was creepy, abusive, controlling, invasive, etc. I'm at a loss. I'm beginning to think I'm the one who's off base here.